You're listening to Moonhawk Studios Presents.
We now join our regularly scheduled podcast, already in progress.
Prove it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome again to another edition of Moonhawk Studios Presents. I'm your host and MC, Mac Paladin. With me in the studio, as always, is my good friend, Adam.
Progress apparently means start at the beginning now.
What's going on now?
Progress apparently means start at the beginning now.
Yes. In the beginning, there was show. Then it got derailed. Then there was no turning back. Of course, we have Elemental Ogre in the house.
Well, I'm in my house. I don't know what house you're talking about.
A house by any other name.
Home.
Something.
Living
All right.
space.
And Sobe rushed home for absolutely nothing because we're late.
10 out of 10.
I did.
She's like, man, I could have told the guy, it's like, just drive around the block 3 or 4 more times. I'll get there eventually.
Just jumped out and walked.
All right. Petty Fan killing it on audio.
I didn't mess up this time. And I found a guest.
Well,
Yay.
there's still the rest of the show to go through, so...
It can only get worse from here, folks. All right. Representing the Funny Hat Brigade, the Golics.
So I am.
And something Mega Man, Twilight Winter.
I am here. It's Super Fighting Robot Mega Man, Mac.
I'm over it. I'm really past it. Here's where you are, and there's me, like, way off in the distance where you can barely see the red of my hair.
Dirty
All
ginger.
right, as usual, we are purported to have an amazing show for you tonight. But before that becomes a lie, let's get to the news. Adam, what's cooking?
All right. Well, we just wrapped up season 7 of Fragments of Silicon. What? We've been going since start of January. Now, of course, we still have 2 more weeks on this program, so
Indeed.
the workload will be lessened for a time, but it's not ending entirely because when this show goes on hiatus, Fragments comes back.
Because Mac is a monster.
Well, this show goes on hiatus for 4 weeks. You guys only go on hiatus for 2.
Okay.
Anyway,
So you do get an extended break, sort of.
not really, in the sense that, there is no week where there is no production. But so it goes. Anyway, that's about it for me this week.
All right.
Ogre, I guess you're up next.
Alright. Let's see. Naka and I managed to finish recording Mega Man 5 for the Game Boy. So...
Wow.
Well, we had it finished. It's been going up for a while.
No, I'm just saying I remember playing that, and I was like, wow, that's a Mega Man game.
It is. One of the better ones.
Are you sure
all
the
things.
enemies' names don't end in man? I think it might be a fake.
No, Wily's there, so it still counts.
Yeah, I forget what he's even doing in this game. But we'll see that when that part goes up.
Yeah. So we finished that. Just kind of rolling along on what else we need to do now. Because Color Splash kind of burned us out. Me specifically, so... I don't really know if I want to go face first into a new project here anytime soon, so... To a big project, but we'll see. We'll do something at some point, that's for certain. Let me see. Oh yeah, our garage door broke earlier.
Ooh.
the main spring for it snapped in half apparently, and now I can't get the damn thing to go up at all.
Hmm.
So that'd be fun. And pretty much about it. Something,
All right.
boy, something.
All right. Sobe, you're almost on vacation.
I've been on vacation.
What you got
Rushed
going
home-
on?
Rushed home from the music festival today. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Summerfest in Milwaukee.
Okay.
No? Yes? Okay. I'm gonna
Never
take that
been
as a
to
no.
Milwaukee, so no.
It's one of the it's one of the biggest music festivals I think in the world because they host about 800 bands every year, and it goes on
Whoa.
for about a week. So that's going on. I think Tom Petty was playing tonight, and there were a whole bunch of other bands. So that's basically where I've been all this week.
Now, was this just a personal visit, or were you doing anything professionally there, like for the radio
No,
or whatever?
strictly personal.
Tight.
I mean, it's called Summerfest, but most people will also call this Beer Fest because that's all that you're doing. There's drinking. I don't drink, but other people do.
Drink for
I've
a week,
heard-
not
I've
remember
heard
that
from-
next week.
Yeah, it was like I mean, I don't drink, but I've heard other people. or other
Moving on.
people talk about. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. All right. All right. So that's everything, right? Sobe.
Oh yeah, that was my week. Sorry. Yep, that was everything.
All right, Petty Van, what do you got cooking?
Well, I was playing on Final Fantasy on my computer yesterday, and it kept blue screening. So I was like, okay, that's odd. Pulled the fan off the radio to my water cooler, and it was full of dust. So I cleaned that off, and now it works great.
It was a mess. He sent a picture to the Discord in our free company. Dang.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I guess I hadn't cleaned it out since I got it in November. Because when I got it, it threw off the schedule that I usually clean it. So yeah. Word to the wise, kids: clean out your radiators of your water coolers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
Assuming you're a cool enough dude to have a water cooled PC in the first place.
Touche.
Yeah, I've got the $12.99 thrift store special here.
Other than that, Omega just launched in Final Fantasy 14, so I had fun doing that with the free company, and been trying to figure out what I want to play on break when we're streaming for Fragments. Other than that, I think I'm done.
Okay, Alex, talk to me.
Well, this week has been or this past period of time has been kind of stressful, but also not super eventful. Work has mostly been kind of being a pain because stuff keeps changing around, and they're trying to. I had kind of a long-term project I was working on, and turns out that they want to have that done in a short-term amount of time, which involves a lot of changes. And also, they decided that I wasn't under enough supervision for some reason. I don't know.
Life is weird.
Yeah, aside from that, looking forward to not having to play games for the show so that I have more time to play games for me. I did beat Breath of the Wild over the long weekend. So I can finally say I've done that, although obviously I haven't completed it because there's still wildlife photography and Koroks and the Trial of the Sword thing, and then more DLC coming out later this year. So that'll be fun. I also hung out with some of my friends who I don't get a ton of time to hang out with. And we're working on plans for this summer for my family and for the Clam Fest in later this month. We'll see. Because I always hang out with my college friends at Clam Fest.
Right.
Yes? Was that weight or?
No, I said tight.
Okay,
I was looking away
yeah.
from the microphone.
It's okay. Yeah. Other than that, not a whole heck of a lot going on.
Okay. Twilight, what do you got?
This past week hasn't been too eventful and significant things have happened. Work has been busy thanks to Independence Day, and it's been really hot. And though my mother injured her hand while she was helping a friend of hers yesterday, and her hand's swollen up some, though she should have probably gone to the hospital to have it checked out, but she's been stubborn about it since. And it seems like it's getting better, though. The swelling has gone down some. Though she's going to wait till Monday to see if it gets any better, and if it doesn't, she'll go then. But besides that, not much else.
Oh, okay. Well. I am looking for pages to send to our new artist that have references to things that he is vainly attempting to draw. Not the least of which is the bridge of the starship Moonhawk.
Architecture designs can be a pain.
Well, I have a map.
Mm-hmm.
There are multiple pages that show the bridge from multiple angles, but there are a couple of corners that are not really well defined. But I mean, it's like little stuff. It's like, okay, so the holographic table on the second level, the fat part goes towards the back. Got it. Sends me the picture. The fat part is facing front. I'm like, okay. He's like, what do you mean by fat part? And I'm like, okay, language barrier, clearly. But yeah. And then he's like, what do you mean the doors are different? I'm like, yeah, the doors on either side of the bridge are not the same.
Well, that sounds like something that would drive some people insane.
Yeah. Those people who must have symmetrical things will not like the bridge of the Moonhawk. The Moonhawk actually has asymmetrical elements to it. The command dais actually is symmetrical from the outside perspective. And then the second level has a sort of horseshoe that extends down to the first level. There are 5 monitors, but 6 panels. So there's one that's missing. Oh, and they're not all the same shape. The Moonhawk has an old style sailing wheel, just like Captain Harlock.
For primarily aesthetic purposes?
It does actually have a rather complex set of controls built into it. If you look at the touch plates under the navigator's fingertips,
Mm-hmm.
there are both triggers on the ends of the handles, as well as touch plates around the handles themselves that do various controls. But it does actually turn slightly.
But the fact that it looks like a ship steering wheel is mostly for nostalgia purposes.
Right. It's an analog wheel in a digital world. So it sends input when you turn it. It sends input to the engineering section, which then causes the various actions to occur. There are also.
I was going to say, in fairness, in most big ships, that's pretty much mostly what the steering wheel does too. It's like it sends a sign to the engine room that says "turn left now."
Right. They're definitely not mechanical. Otherwise, they'd be suspended directly above the rudder, like in the old wooden sailing vessel days.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no drive shaft that connects the steering wheel from the bridge to the engine room. That would be crazy, especially given the size of most modern battleships.
Mm-hmm.
Or aircraft carriers, for that matter. Which, as far as I know, they do still have a wheel.
Well, yeah, the Navy is big on tradition, so I'm not surprised on that.
Mm-hmm. But it's also like almost like driving a car, except that you turn left to go right and right to go left.
Mm-hmm.
Because nautical. But I mean, it's like when I redesigned it, I made it much more symmetrical. There's two curved staircases. There's 2 doors. There's 2 columns around the screen in the back. There's 2 support struts around the front window, so on and so forth. A lot of people have been critical of the fact that the Moonhawk has a window, just like, and I did that before J.J. Abrams. So there's that.
There's nothing wrong with having a window in space. I mean, it's not going to be the most useful thing, but some people trust their eyes.
Well, there's also a hanging heads-up display projector that projects holograms onto the window itself.
Right.
So it's kind of like the Next Generation movie Enterprise, the Enterprise E's viewing screen. And the fact that there's actually 2 layers. You can't see the outer layer because it's completely transparent, but at least not from most of the shots on the bridge. But there is an outer dome that is opaque from the outside and transparent from the inside. So that protects.
There's no problem with having having the background for your screen be clear, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You said it was a three-story bridge. What's on the top? I think you said that
the command dais.
Okay.
There is a command chair up there, but there's also some additional readouts and things like that on the uppermost level. It's sort of arranged like the Yamato's bridge from Space Battleship Yamato, except that's only 2 levels. You have the main floor, and then you have the command dais, which actually is a chair that drops down from the ceiling to an upper level, which also has access to the lower level via small staircases. So I was kind of inspired by that idea by having the captain sit at the top, and they can look down on what I call the pit. The main controls for the ship are actually down on the bottom. There's a holographic plot board which looks just like the ones that they use grease pencils on in modern Navy vessels. There's the wheel, and then there's a communications communication station off to it would be the captain's left, facing forward, all down in the pit. And then there's some other stuff, but we won't get into that. And then in the second level, there's the science and tactical weapons station. And then there's a holographic plot table. So just like they do now, where they bring out the maps and they bring out the slide rulers and the compasses. There's a holographic version of that, which has a weird shape. I designed this completely from scratch. And that sits in the middle. So it's kind of, and then there's a gigantic screen on the back wall between the two lift doors. There's actually only one lift on the bridge, and it's on the captain's left, our right. The other one goes.
There are other ways to get out, though.
Well, yeah, there are emergency exits and stuff like that. The other doorway goes to a emergency lift and then a staircase going up to the conning tower, because any giant ship of the line has a conning tower. The commanding officer or fleet admiral would actually spend most of their time up there rather than on the bridge, and they would have in this particular case, it's both a control room and an office for Admiral Cobalt. So he has a desk, and he has a big forward window, and then he has bookcases, and apparently plays golf in there because it's giant, thanks to the size of the ship. That's an inside joke that will make more sense if you ever read The Death of Perseus.
Mm-hmm.
He shanks the swing just as a comm comes in, breaks something glass on a shelf.
Don't do that in your office.
Yeah, especially if you're on a spaceship, because Lord knows you don't want to. Well, you can't break a window; they're made out of transparent metal.
Right. That's the other reason why a window is okay. It's pretty much as strong as most of the hull.
Right. It's in the 30th century, I postulated that much like Star Trek in the 23rd and 24th centuries, they have transparent aluminum. I have a transparent superalloy that acts as a window, which is why Star Trek Generations is such an egregious offense against humanity because shattering windows. One strangely placed photon torpedo against the side of the primary hull and all the windows would blow out. That doesn't seem like good strategy for the Federation. But, you know, what are you going to do? So we're working on indoctrinating a new artist into basically a series I've been working on for 25 years. So I'm sure nothing can possibly go wrong here.
Well,
God
good
damn
luck.
it, Siri. God damn it, Siri. Stop paying attention.
What did you think you were doing this time?
I don't know. I just uttered that last sentence and she just said in response, hi.
This is why you disable the dumb AI assistant.
Well, she hasn't spoken to me for quite some time.
Just like your real life mom. I'm kidding.
I'll hurt you later. But that's okay. Smart off all you like, because you're the one conducting the interview.
Are we getting to that
with,
now?
With all those notes you took.
But are you done with your
All
news,
right.
Mac?
How about we do this? Why don't we go ahead and introduce our guest? This week we have, at long last, we tried to have him on the podcast before, but we have Let's Player Jesse Cox on the program. Welcome aboard, sir.
Hello. It's so nice to be here.
I heard you're prone to breaking into song during those lengthy load screens.
Not me. I don't know what you've heard. I ain't that guy.
Softly,
Class act. I would never do that.
quietly goes
All right,
and deletes videos.
Yeah.
Let me,
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Everything I've done is a mistake. Oh boy. Let's start by lobbing a softball here. What got you into Let's Plan?
Years ago, I was a teacher, and in the fall of 2010, they let us all go because they didn't want to pay us anymore. And yeah, I had nothing to do. So rather than sit around and mope, I was like, I guess I'll play video games, which is better than doing nothing. And at some point, a friend was like, yo, did you hear you can make money off of this? I was like, what? And this was when YouTube was just starting to pay people. And so I decided, sure, I'll jump in. Let's see what happens. And the rest is history. A year later, I lived in LA.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's been the impact of the recent happenings at YouTube on your channel?
Well, everyone seems to say that the world's ending on YouTube. I haven't seen that. But I think everyone's affected differently by the way YouTube handles stuff now. There are many people who have this whole like YouTube Armageddon thing, but they never had to deal with copyright issues. There are many people that had to deal with copyright issues, but don't see this YouTube thing. I don't know. I think everyone experiences it differently. There's 2 bajillion people on YouTube, so I don't know that's my big concern, but I guess I just have a lot of videos, so after a while it doesn't particularly matter.
As long as someone doesn't strike all of them at once, you're fine, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, there's been an issue about that.
Turns out Tucson McGee would like to copyright the sound of your voice.
that's
there's
okay.
There's been a big thing that's been brewing in the YouTube community lately about that, the Alex Mercer situation, though.
Yeah.
And that's affected a lot of small channels. And YouTube seems to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Well, YouTube, unfortunately, is a massive, massive machine. And there's not going to be any way that they concern themselves with 1 or 2 things there. It's just, there's too much. And so, unfortunately, most of it's automatic. And there's nothing you can really do. And if you fight it, sometimes it'll work. And sometimes they'll be like, nope. And then there's nothing you can do. It sucks. That's just the way the machine works. And the biggest issue is that until someone creates a platform for videos to compete with YouTube, there's nothing we'll ever be able to do about it. And people can complain and get as angry as they want, but at the end of the day, YouTube's still the #1 video platform for on-demand video.
That
That's
does
just
make
the way
sense.
it is. Yeah.
Well, and I think a large part of it is how you go about conducting yourself. You know, if you're a good community member and you don't needlessly rock the boat, as some
Right.
do, you probably are less prone to strikes, I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, just don't be a dick.
Unless you happen to have the unfortunate of having reviewed someone who decides, or having played a game of someone who then decides to be a dick about stuff.
Yeah. Who can't take criticism well.
Well, I'd say the biggest problem facing YouTube right now is, well, the continuing fallout over losing advertisers.
Well, I mean, let's be real. The reason why that happened is because people were, and I'll quote, dicks. And so advertisers didn't want to have anything to do with that. And so then the response was people being even bigger dicks about what happened and making advertisers even more mad. And yeah, sure, it probably got them a lot of views, and they probably are really happy with themselves about it. But at the end of the day, they kind of screwed everyone over. And I don't know why people praise them as like, yeah, they're really saying it to the man. Like, no, they are ruining it for everyone, and you're all cheering them on. Like, don't do that. I would just say, drama YouTubers, I don't want none of it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the classic case of Schadenfreude. You know, it's people delighting in the misery of others.
It's among other things. It's, you know, it's vengeance, you know, because they feel that their free speech is being infringed upon.
Oh yes, by the big corporate platform that has no real impetus to allow them to exercise their free speech in a private space. But we'll get into that another time.
That's just ridiculous. A lot of these people aren't warriors, so they don't have access to vengeance.
All right, moving on. Petty Fan, now you brought Jesse onto the show because you're very familiar with this channel. Let's field some more esoteric details and get back on the path of righteousness here.
So you apparently have something you call CoxCon. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yo, CoxCon is in 2 weeks. Oh my God, we're almost there again. Yeah, it's a convention.
And this is a legal endeavor.
It is. It's not about wieners. It's not about wieners. Years ago, I went to a convention in the UK that I really, really loved, and it was very small. It was like 500 people, a super small convention. But they invited us out. It was super fun. I loved every minute of it. It was basically just drinking and hanging out the convention, and I was blown away by how much fun I had. The next year, they were going to do it again. This is 2012, I think. They were going to do it again. I was ready to go. I was super hyped, and the organizers asked me to help them promote it because they were like, this year we're going to do 1,000 people. I was like, that sounds even better. I can't wait. So I promoted the hell of this convention, and then they straight up just like canceled the convention and took everyone's money.
Ooh.
And I felt terrible. Yeah, I felt terrible. Actually, the first convention was 2012. The next one was 2013. Either way, 2013, I feel terrible. I'm like, okay, well, I'm already flying to the UK, so here's what I'll do. If you're in the UK and you want to come meet me in London, I'm going to rent out the Namco Fun Center, and let's just go nuts. If you got a ticket to this convention, you have a free ticket to this event, and you're allowed to come in, and like, I just want to hang out. And like 600 people showed up. It was crazy. And so at the end of the night, I was like, all right, should we make this a real thing? Because people just wanted to come hang out, and we didn't have to do anything. Like, what if we actually make it into a thing? And so the next year, 2014, we did the first CoxCon, like an official thing. And it was like only 1,000 tickets, but they sold out in a day, and we were blown away by that. And it was crazy. And then the next year we did it again, and then we did it again. And this year is our big our big 3rd year anniversary or 4th year. I don't remember anymore. It's been a while.
It's a number of years.
Yeah, it's a number of years. But yeah, it's even bigger and better than ever, and it's just a fun, cool time to hang out with YouTubers and gaming people and different companies. Like this year, we're having a Gwent tournament, and CD Projekt's going to be there, and we're going to give away stuff. Alienware has giveaways and things, and then we just do fun. It's the chillest con there ever will be. It's not about corporate stuff and exhibitors and like they exist, but that's not what it's about. It's about just celebrating, because it's run by a long time ago. I, of course, like everyone else on the internet, had a Minecraft server, and as I moved away from Minecraft because I was like, I don't care anymore, the people who ran that server, the 4 or 5 people who ran that server, sort of came with me on this adventure for CoxCon. And because I trusted them enough to run a server, I was like, what if, since most of you live in the UK, what if I sort of let you run this thing and let's see what happens this first year? And they nailed it. And so every year since, it's sort of been their baby. And so I wish I could take credit as like CoxCon was my thing, but really it's this like really hardcore group of fans that have sort of grown with me. And now as they all age up into being super responsible adults, they
Just
they
like
run
yourself.
yeah. Wink. And yeah, they're amazing, and I'm honored to have them on board. And I think it's really cool what they've done. And so every year I show up and take all the credit, but it's really them. They do all the work, and it's a fan event put on by fans, and so it's super cool.
And this is in the UK every year?
Yep, every year. It's in Telford, England, at the convention center there. It's because it's just a big convention center. And,
have you thought about having one in the US at some point, or is that...
No, I go to conventions here like PAX and E3, and like this weekend I'm at Indie PopCon, and the next weekend I'm at Evo, and so I'm around enough where I don't want to have to... I'll let you in on a secret. Putting on conventions costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
There are small conventions here, though.
That's true,
Not all
but even
PAXs
those
and
cost
E3s.
money.
Yeah,
True.
and
Yeah.
also Jesse has kind of a big fan base.
That's true.
Not big enough. That's what I say. Give me more.
Yeah, but if you did it in the U.S., they'd all theoretically be able to go.
Yeah.
That's
Now-
fine.
now-
I'd love to hang out. One of my favorite things in the world is to go meet people and hang out and just talk and stuff. So I would not be fussed if a ton of people showed up. I'd make time for every single one of them.
So I see on your...
Literally.
Oh, go ahead, Mac.
I'm done.
I was going to change the subject if you had something else on that before I changed it. All right,
Moving
so
on.
I see you have like a lot of one-off stuff and a lot of like, multi-episode Let's Plays. What makes you select one or the other for a given game?
Just whatever I want, really. I mean, every once in a while, people suggest something, and I'm like, okay, cool. I am not the YouTuber you should be following if you want to learn how to like play the YouTube game. The YouTube game and the Twitch streaming game is all about doing the newest thing and doing it on the day it comes out and making sure you get the most up the fastest and always changing it up and always trying to be in the eyes of what people want, right? So if a new game comes out, the best way to be seen is by playing that game the day it comes out.
Mhm.
And people will just stumble on you because they're curious. I'm not that person. I play games whenever I get around to it or I feel like it. And
Yeah,
most
like
of the time,
I just see you best put up stuff for Sniper Elite.
yeah.
It's as far as YouTube is concerned, it's old game, but not really.
I mean, yeah, it's super old in the world of YouTube. And the other day, Sips from the Ogscast and I were just like, do you just want to play this game? Because we get to shoot Hitler in the balls, and that's pretty freaking cool. And yeah,
That is a 10 out of 10 reason to play a video game right there.
I'm not gonna spoil the next episode, but we shoot Hitler in the balls, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, like we just got together and thought, hey, yeah, let's just play this game because we want to see really cool, like internal gunshot thing. Like it just doesn't matter. We play whatever we want, and I'm very fortunate that I can get away with that.
Yeah.
And I don't have to play the game of like, man, I gotta be up at midnight, play this game, And if I don't get the videos out all this week, then people are just not gonna. I've given up caring about that.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like, our friend in the chat room right now, Ogre, him and his LP partner do that a lot. It's play whatever, right?
Yeah, just whatever we feel like.
And you also have a show called Spooky Game Squad.
Ah,
Scary Game
Scary Game Squad, yeah.
Uh-oh.
It's time to get into that, friend.
Scary Game Squad is my friends and I get together and we have a few drinks and then we play scary games and we act like complete fools.
So the drinks are required.
I mean, yeah, of course they're required. That's how we managed to get through them because we're big cowards.
Fair enough, fair enough. So do you have a favorite game that you've done for Scary Game Squad? Or like a favorite moment?
Oh my god. My favorite moment is when we figured out how to game Until Dawn. For those of you who have not played Until Dawn, basically you just have to keep a bunch of kids alive in sort of a story-esque, more cinematic horror game. And we, about halfway through, figured out that you don't play the game, you play the characters. So once you figure out what the character tropes are, you play them exactly as tropey as they're supposed to be. And that's how we kept them all alive.
Yeah.
Except for one.
Wow.
One of them died, but that's how we learned how to keep people alive. So RIP the person who died, but everyone else lived because we figured it out.
And note they were so unimportant, you don't even remember their name.
Oh, I remember their name. I just want to spoil things for people who
Fair
who
enough, fair
might
enough.
want to check that video out or that video series. I don't
Yeah,
want to spoil nothing.
I read later on that he's a really hard one to keep alive, so a lot of people end up accidentally getting him killed, so...
Yeah, but once we figured it out, we were like, oh, now we know how to play. And I think that was a really fun moment because we all sort of had the revelation of like, we're going to go through this game and not screw this up now.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Adam, you wanted to ask him about a certain game that you were playing.
Well, it's more.
Or if
Do you know of a game called Conarium?
Conarium? No.
Conarium.
It's fairly newish, I think.
Yeah, it came out early this month, or early last month, actually. I think it's been
What
out.
is it about?
Do you know how much do you know about Lovecraft?
You know what? I think I might know this game. I know enough. I know a significant amount. I'm not like, I don't know all of the various old god names, but I know enough to know what's going on.
Yeah. So this is based off the Lovecraft novel At the Mountains of Madness. Like, if you're not familiar with that one offhand, that's the Arctic Expedition book.
Right, yeah. There's also a very good game. Crap, I'm not gonna remember the name of this game. It's a VR game where you go to the Arctic to find your girlfriend and professor who are missing, and it's third person. It's like over the shoulder third person, but you, the player, are the light in the hand of the person you're controlling. So when you look around with your head, you're the light moving around. But it's about you discovering the like Cthulhu-esque old god crap down there, and it's really cool. It's a very cool game. I cannot remember the name for the life of me.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
Yeah.
Not familiar with that one. Sounds neat.
Cool though, yeah.
It does.
Yeah, the enemies are sound based because they can't see you, so you can like shine lights right on them and stuff, and it's horrifying because they're all like hideous beasts, but it's all sound based. So as you sneak around, if you like step on a rock or something slides, they all come rushing at you, and it's the worst.
I'd imagine.
Yeah. Like though nobody here has a VR helmet yet.
Yeah. One of those
Wait,
in time.
there's no reason to have one right now anyway, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesse, was he talking about the Edge of Nowhere?
I think that's what it is. Yes.
Oh yeah, I think I've heard of that one. Yeah, the name sounds familiar at the very least. Like, like, anyway, you know, it's like the game came up because we interviewed the creator, or at least one of the creators, the other day. and it's
It
It's
seems like something
interesting-
that'd be interesting for Scary Game Squad, if anything.
yeah. Like,
Yeah, it's definitely something we'll consider. Yeah, I think it's on our list of things to play. We have a lot of stuff on the list at the moment. That's just like
Yeah.
the problem is that we all have various things that we do ourselves, and so just getting together can be a pain in the ass.
been there before. It's like,
So you also have a show called Fan Friday that also is the running meme of never coming up on Friday.
Well, it's recorded on Friday, so that should count.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it's basically just a fun, whatever people suggest I play, and eventually I go through the list of like what people have suggested, and I just play it. And usually people are assholes and make me play games that are either, I'm gonna say naughty is probably the right word, and or very difficult, or games that I hate, but I somehow still have to play them.
And then there's Senran Kagura.
Senran Kagura is pretty naughty.
Yeah, but I kind of like that one, so it's okay.
well, and like the devs put out a game called Valkyrie Drive.
Yeah.
Yes, apparently everyone says I need to play that as well.
Yeah. So is there like an official place we can suggest games, or is it like Twitter, Facebook?
All over the place. Yeah. Anytime I see someone put a suggestion, if I haven't gotten it already, I add it to the list. I have a
can
big old
suggest
list.
One thing right now for Scary Game Squad is Alien Isolation at some point.
We definitely, it's on our list of things to play.
That's
for
gonna
sure.
be fun. But
No,
yeah.
don't lapse into silence now. We were on a roll.
Oh, I was. So you also...
Everybody's awestruck. Everybody's awestruck by the whole con thing and all that.
Yeah. So you also do a lot of streaming on Twitch.
I mean, I'd like to say enough, but I don't think a lot's the right term.
I don't know.
definitely-
That was a lot for the what's that game with Aloy?
Oh, Horizon Zero Dawn? That's because I'm in
Yeah.
love with her. And Aloy and I are going to get married once I can figure out how to get Commander Riker to come help me build a holodeck. Then he and I are going to go pick up chicks, and that is my plan. That's my life goal.
That is a nice life goal.
Mac, you want to audit his choice of a crew member?
Don't do it. There's no other choice. There's no other choice.
Max over there rocking back and forth in his chair.
I think Jordy LaForge practically has a monopoly on using the holotech for questionable relationship reasons.
Jordy LaForge has the monopoly on the questionable relationships in the TNG franchise, period. Creeping on a much younger woman who's actually dead, only not. Holodecks.
I'm just saying, I feel like Riker and I could get up to some trouble. If I went on the holodeck with Picard, I'd just be stuck in that damn Dixon Hill store the entire time, which I imagine's fun, but not after, 4 or 5 chapters.
Right,
I'm
and if you-
just saying.
And if you go on with Data, you'll probably end up getting effed over by Moriarty.
Yeah, no, I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that stuff. All I'm saying is, Riker and I, oh my God, Riker and I in the holodeck with a hologram Captain Kirk picking up hologram greenskin girls. That is the best night. It's essentially the Star Trek version of The Hangover, and it's just us going around. I'm just putting it out there, future.
Quick,
Interesting.
someone make a fan fiction of that.
Interesting little tidbit. Captain Kirk never scored with a green chick. That was Captain Pike.
Here's the thing. It could happen on the holodeck.
What happens on the holodeck stays on
Stays
the
on the
holodeck.
holodeck, man. That's what I'm saying.
At least
course,
until
the
the
holodeck
janitorial crew
thing
gets
in-
it.
Wasn't a thing in the original Star Trek. That's Next Generation.
That's what I'm saying. Kirk is a
Right, Kirk is a hologram here.
hologram, and Picard. No, screw Picard. He's gonna stay on the bridge or some shit. He can go be a Borg for all I care. All right, so Riker and I, with hologram Kirk, go score with hologram greenskin ladies, and you know what? One of them like half white, half black girls from the original one too.
Oh, let this
think
be
it'd
your
be great.
last battlefield.
Yeah, I'm just. Oh, and like one of the like sexy like half human, half Klingon girls. Let's throw them all in there. Hell, one of everyone. I'm not picky. Whatever.
Hashtag Noah's Ark holodeck.
Yeah.
Something Horta something.
Yeah, something sexy Noah's Ark something. Absolutely.
Well, we found the title for the fan fiction, friends.
Yeah.
Sexy Noah Ark. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw out a bit of an obscure Star Trek reference there, but I think on this matter we reach.
God damn it, Mac. I would say you're fired, but you're my boss.
What? Nobody's seen The Way to Eden? Come on. All right. I guess you guys are all a bunch of Herberts.
Sorry, I'm kind of mentally dividing my attention.
Oh, God. All right.
If you want to fight Headlock instead, you can do that.
Continuing on, for favor.
So, does anybody else have any questions before we get too deep into this wormhole?
Oh, is that what we're calling it these days?
Well,
Now you seem to be doing a good job.
Proceed. You're going to proceed.
so anyway, back to the Twitch streaming. Do you have like a set schedule, or it's like I have time now? Let's just go do this.
It's just I have time, and I do it when I can. I'm very fortunate. Unlike most, I have a lot of streamer friends who do it every day, and they do it way too much, and it's like, all right, good luck, guys. I couldn't do that.
So I guess. Oh, go ahead.
I think that's one reason why Twitch unveiled the affiliate program not too long ago. You know, for those who literally don't want to stream all day, every day.
Yeah, because before that was like one of the things that got you partnership is a lot of Twitch uptime with a lot of views.
Right.
But
Yeah.
so you have a lot of friends, I should say, in videos. Has there anybody who's who you met before you started on YouTube, or are they all like professional friendship type deal?
That stream with me or play games with me.
Kind of, sort of both.
Everyone that I play with, I met through the internet. And most of them are professional friends. Most of my friends from high school or college are like not the biggest gamers. And truthfully, here's the spoiler alert for everyone out there. Most people from high school, most of your friends from high school, you probably won't ever see them again after high school most of the time.
Yeah.
And same for college. Like, just
Very
spoiler
true.
alert. But most of the people that I know from working with them online. I have been friends with Total Biscuit for years and years and years. We did stuff in Warcraft way back in the day. And through him, I met my friend Dodger. And then through her, I went to a few parties in LA and met some of my wonderful friends that I have now. And yeah, I think most of the people that I work with are people I consider very good friends and people that I can tolerate. As I'm sure you're aware, there are a lot of truly awful people on the internet that I'd rather not associate with.
Oh, come on.
I know, it's shocking.
They're all unicorns. How can that be? I'm sure I was going somewhere with that, but moving on.
I think the word you were looking for was snowflake.
No, unicorn.
No, I was being nice. I was not being mean.
Okay.
So I was also wondering, who does the thumbnails for all your videos? Or do you do them yourself, or do you commission somebody to do them?
A long time ago, a fan named Dan did I have a podcast to do called Cox and Crendor, and he did animations for that podcast, and they were really funny. And we asked him one day, "Hey, would you like to do more?" And he said, "Sure." And since then, that's been, oh my God, 5 years now. Since then, he has gone on to actually work for me full time, and he does all the animations, he does all the thumbnails, he does everything. And he has his own crazy art style, and he's great. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I can see. It's like, it's so simple yet so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he can very easily mimic other art styles. You look at some of the thumbnails; they're all very, very different. He's just very talented, and so of course I'm happy to have him along for the ride.
Yeah, just like looking at, Deus Ex, Sniper Elite, the Scary Game Squad, Dishonored, they're all, not the same.
Mm-hmm. He's a talented dude.
Indeed, indeed.
That's definitely one thing I look for when I'm on someone's channel. Something that I will have to take into consideration myself as we grow in popularity is the complete package. I mean, it's not just do you have quantity of videos, but is there also a esoteric quality to it? And so that's definitely where we want to be.
Yeah. So are you like a one-man show over there, or do you have like people who like help you out behind the scenes?
I'm very fortunate that recently, in the last year, I've managed to hire an editor, and so I can bring him on. But it took 6 years of busting ass on YouTube to be able to afford that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But now I have a guy who edits, not all my videos. Some of them just don't require editing, but he edits some of the bigger ones, and so it's nice to have him around. Yeah, it's it's my big addition to my life is having someone do stuff like that.
Yeah, I can imagine, because like with Ogre, his partner Naka edits all their videos, and he spends most of the day editing.
Mm-hmm. He'll spend
editing takes up way
about
too
a
much
day
time,
or
especially
so
for YouTube.
for various videos, and these are small videos in comparison.
Yeah. So I think I am out of questions personally. If anybody else has anything else to go on.
Anybody want to throw down anything unofficial?
I have a question. Why is Davis the most majestic, beautiful creature during Scary Game Squad?
Well, you see, long ago,
In a time far, far away. Wait, what?
Yeah, long ago in the before times, somewhere in Australia, a young man named Australian Davis came to America. And he brought with him a small kangaroo, which he named Davis. And that kangaroo grew up to be a beautiful man that we now make play our games.
Now I'm confused.
Good, I'm glad.
I think that was the entire point. You've won 10 out of 10.
I don't know where that story was going, but I'm glad I finished it.
Isn't that where most stories happen to go on the internet?
Mm-hmm.
That's our whole podcast right there, folks.
Tangents upon tangents upon tangents.
So I have to admit, I'm sorry, I'm not actually a regular watcher of your stuff. So here's a question that'll be really obvious to anyone who has, but might be to people who might be useful to people who haven't. What are like 3 of the favorite games that you've Let's played?
I've Let's played, man,
or played, I should say.
Oh well, the greatest video game of all time is Final Fantasy VI. Anything else is not even close.
But what about your waifu Aloy?
She's great and all, but it's no Final Fantasy VI, the greatest game ever.
Now, I have a question for you then. If Final Fantasy VI is the greatest game of all time, save Sid or don't save Sid?
Oh, you always save Sid. You wait and you get that damn fish and you reset if you don't. Please. You keep that man alive.
But the drama of Celeste hurling herself
it's definitely
off the
more
rock.
dramatic if you don't save him, but I still have a hard time doing video
save
game
that
cruelty.
Man. You save that man.
There is no other option.
Yeah, she doesn't. Yeah. That's simple.
And if you try,
and also
you
wait for you wait for Shadow too. Please, it's as simple as that.
Oh, of course, you can't have the best ending without Shadow.
Right. Please. Also, years ago, one of my favorite things is that you could probably look this up online, but this is going back 15 years maybe, when they remade Final Fantasy VI and put it out. Because, I don't know, now people take this for granted that Shadow and Realm are connected. Way back in the day, that is not a thing people believed. And it wasn't until Final Fantasy VI was remade for PlayStation, back in the day, on the internet forums, I made a giant post because I got the video of the trailer. Not trailer, it was like the cutscene that they included in the PlayStation version, which, by the way, don't play the PlayStation version, it's garbage. But
Yeah.
the cutscenes they included, one of them is Shadow, like, going through a train. And while he's doing that, there are flashes, really quick white flashes. And in those white flashes are pictures of Realm. And I was like, y'all, he is straight up her father. And I made a post, and people called me crazy. And
It's
I
heavily
eventually
suggested
was
in
proved
game
right.
if you get all of his memories, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes.
but no one believed that shit. And so
Also, the memento ring.
it was literally like that was the first time it was officially confirmed by Square
Mhm.
that he is in fact the dad.
And you know, Interceptor just likes little girls.
Yeah.
Cue the music.
All I'm saying is it's the greatest game ever made, and anyone who says otherwise is a fool. I'm looking at you, Alex Fossiani, who is somewhere saying Final Fantasy IX is the best game ever. You're wrong. You're wrong, Alex. You're
Oh
wrong.
my god. Oh my god.
Was he dropped as a baby?
Oh, I
I probably.
think it was paid off by Sakaguchi.
I saw that
Final
video
Fantasy,
too.
Final Fantasy IX is also a good game, but I like 6 better. So
Alex, please. You're embarrassing yourself. Yeah, there's nothing that quite compares to the Genji Glove offering 1-2 punch.
right, that's what I said.
Unless you get a, you know, a gem box and an economizer.
Well, they're good on different characters.
Also,
No, they're
never,
actually kind of good on everybody because you.
also never take the Ragnarok Esper. Always take the Ragnarok sword.
Obviously, yeah. Please.
Okay, see,
Yeah.
the sword is better, but the empty slot on the Esper menu bugs me more.
Okay. Anyway,
I know it's a terrible.
because
That's
then
the
you
reason
wager it.
it's
Then you
unfair
wager it in the arena. You wager it in the arena for
Yes, I know. You get
in
the-
one of the most obscenely easy risky battles, and fight Doulahan and get the Illumina, which is by far the greatest weapon ever conceived.
No, I know that. And the Ragnarok Esper isn't that good. I just empty spots on menus really bother me.
Then get an
Look,
action
if you-
replay and fill it in later.
Look, if you want to learn the Ultima spell, then what you need to do is get yourself the Curse Shield and
Yes,
break.
I know how to get the Ultima spell. It has nothing to do with the spells or anything. It's just the empty slot in the menu drives me nuts.
This became a elementary school playground argument here, and I don't know whether to like it or love it.
Yeah, I'm fully aware that it's a crappy Esper that barely works on anything because all it does is transmute enemies into items that are but it doesn't work on anything powerful anyway.
What's game number 2?
Chrono Trigger, easy.
Oh yeah.
And
Corridors-
secretly you
corridors
see
of-
Ogre give him a high five.
So is number 3 Secret of Mana?
Obviously. 1994, 95, 96, the best years for video games. Thank you very much.
I was gonna say, you seem to be from about the same era as me.
I'm saying there's been many great games since, but those were the best games ever made.
Yeah, I need to beat Chrono Trigger at some point. One day. Just
I may inject as a bonus Terranigma because the feels. Oh my god.
that
But-
needs to come to the U.S. someday.
I'll counter with
Officially.
Earthbound.
Earthbound's great.
It's like, so what's your opinion on Chrono Cross?
Chrono Cross is fun, if not flawed.
That's fair.
Mhm.
That's possibly
Yeah.
the least volatile opinion of that game I've ever heard.
Yeah, I mean,
It's.
that's
I mean,
about
I played Final Fantasy 13, so I know what hell looks like.
that's a fair point.
Did you play 13-2 and Lightning Returns though?
I played 13-2, and I played about the first hour of Lightning Returns, and then quit. Never played it again.
took the
Probably
disc
a
to a
wise
shotgun
choice.
range and just ended it.
I know. Have you ever played Unlimited Saga?
Oh, it's unplayable.
I'm asking Jesse.
No,
I know.
No, I have not.
Oh.
Ah.
And now he goes
an
to look
utter-
something up.
It's an utterly unplayable game. It is literally the game that killed the entire Saga franchise.
Great.
They couldn't even resurrect it. They couldn't even resurrect it by remastering the original Romancing Saga for the PS2.
Although there were further remakes of Romancing Saga on like the DS and the 3DS. Yeah, unless it moved to mobile.
They had this brilliant concept that your entire battle system was based on a completely inscrutable heads-up display that pops up like it's some kind of fucking, Yu-Gi-Oh deck on your wrist. And the hit detection on getting literally anything to fire off is impossible. Oh, and the load times, don't even get me started on that. Anyway, I've got a copy of this game literally still sealed in the plastic.
It did things to him. Bad things.
It hurt me in incalculable ways.
We've heard this original rant. Never again.
Worse than Secret of Mana 4.
Worse than Final Fantasy 2.
Oh,
that's a playable game. I've played the entire Legend series. It's a playable game. Just beat the hell out of yourself for 10 hours. You'll be fine.
That's good life choices to make.
Well, it's like,
I figured we should just circle right back around to, nutshotting Hitler at some point.
Absolutely. Always.
Yeah. Speaking of which, are you looking forward to the new Wolfenstein game?
Hell yes! I love Wolfenstein. It's so good.
I have not played the new one, but I was a big fan of the original one. I think I still have the CD version somewhere.
Good.
Yeah. Although the original Wolfenstein 3D is a bit unplayable these days. I mean, that level design did not age well.
Did most level design from the early to mid 90s really age well?
Doom did. I mean, Wolfenstein, it's all like 90-degree angles and stuff. It's
fair enough.
It gets really dull really fast, actually, these days.
And I guess something that I've been wondering, you've been playing Final Fantasy XIV recently, correct?
Yeah.
As someone, I've played the game for years. As someone new, what do you think of it?
I think everyone keeps telling me the story is supposed to be amazing, but so far I've experienced very little story and a lot of running back and forth.
Yeah, well, that's also typical to MMOs, so...
Yeah, the story you have to, find.
Yeah. The story does get good near the end of the base game into Heaven's Word.
Yeah.
So, I believe we're running out of time, Mac, if my timer is correct.
Something along those lines. Of course, we could always give Jesse a few more minutes just because we had to push him down the line here.
Yeah, so I guess if you have any big projects you want to plug here or whatever that's coming up.
Yes,
yeah, man,
that was a good time.
You can find me all over the internet. If you just Google Jesse Cox, I'm there. And I'm doing all sorts of stuff. I have a new YouTube Red show coming out in August, starring the Game Grumps, and it's produced by Dan Harmon from Community, and it's gonna be awesome. And I hope everyone watches that. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty cool stuff.
So you are generally pro YouTube Red?
I'm pro getting a paycheck.
Fair enough.
I feel like we've just barely scratched the surface with you dropping a bomb like that. Dan Harmon and the Game Grumps? Holy shit.
Well, we're going to be here for another half hour, gentlemen.
I'm aware of the Game Grumps having a YouTube Red show. I didn't know you were involved in that.
Story of my life, man. Yeah, I'm the co-creator. I made it, so it's my baby.
Damn.
So
wow.
I did. Yeah.
Well, how did that project get together?
We asked the Game Grumps to do it, and they said yes. And we asked Dan Harmon to do it, and he said yes. And that's literally it. I wish there was a better story.
Wow.
I'm
well, they both seem to be the kind of people who are up for that kind of thing, who are good for weird projects.
Well, it's a good project, so I'm very excited when it's finally released. People will see what we've been working on for the last 2 years, and it'll be great. I hope.
And then we'll see whether or not I want to sign up for YouTube Red to watch it.
Yeah. Good luck.
Free trial, cough, cough.
Yeah, actually, there's a free trial that ended yesterday. Sadly, it was 3-month free trial.
Oh, damn.
See, I get it.
Yep.
We have it as a family thing, so I get it through my parents, basically. So
Damn.
Yeah, my parents
You'll get to
don't
watch
YouTube.
Must be nice living at home.
well, I keep their computers running, so that's basically the trade-off.
At least you get something for your tech support. I just have to deal with, old people who don't know technology.
Internal
Adam,
screaming.
the box is broken again.
Don't.
The magic box isn't showing
I
pictures.
jiggled the doohickey and it's not doing
Stop.
anything.
I think we just triggered Adam.
No, seriously. Fuck that.
I just went full Jerry Seinfeld's mom on that one too. Well, he is living in Florida, just not South Beach.
So I guess since we're winding down, any last questions for Jesse here?
I do have one last question. Are there any games that you absolutely refuse to play for your channel?
Nope, I'll play anything as long as I, if it sucks, I might not show the video, but I'll try it. I'll try and see what it's
I'll
like.
try
But there's
anything once.
Yeah, if I don't enjoy it, I'm not going to talk about it. You know how that works. But I'm
assume
just
we're
saying,
accepting games that are against YouTube's terms of or Twitch's terms of service.
I have a feeling now that you've said that on the air that I have to do the Jib Jab Putin voice. I promise you'll regret that. That's like, I'll play anything. Oh.
Anything you say. Well then.
Anyway. All right. Well, this has been awesome. I feel like we need to have you on the program again sometime in the foreseeable future, Mr. Cox.
I'll be around.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's see. Let me bring up this channel again so I get the spelling right here. Or actually, just why don't you just rattle off your channel name so that way everybody can find you. Besides looking for Jesse Cox, the URL is. Let me click the thing here. OMFG Kata, and that's on YouTube, and that'll lead you to Jesse Cox and all of his amazing programming.
Thank you for calling it amazing. I accept that lie.
Well, if you weren't amazing, we wouldn't have had you on the show.
It's a beautiful lie we can all live with.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, and also be sure to listen.
On Many Funny Goats.
And also, Moonhawk Studios Presents is the greatest interview show ever on YouTube. Guaranteed.
No, that's just a straight up damn lie.
That's
The
just a
audience
damn
didn't
lie,
know
sir.
that.
Does anybody recall who we have on next week?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. Next week, we will be having our old friend Brad Jones on the program.
Oh,
Woohoo!
As long as he doesn't eat something stupid and need a stomach pump that day.
I've got the perfect title for next week's episode. Brad tries MSP again.
Yes. I'm like, yeah, it's always a good time when Brad shows up.
Oh, God, he's a hoot.
Right.
Oh, man. Well, again, big thank you to Jesse Cox for making it onto the program.
My pleasure. Thank you.
This has been a treat, and be sure to tune in next week when we have Brad on the podcast. Until then, I am your host, Mac Paladin, saying thanks for listening and stay safe out there, kids.